Okay, so before we get started, this Sutta discussion, we call it Sutta Discovery, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. All right. Good evening, Dhamma friends. I don't know, probably this is a good morning to some of you, probably to Sister Sonia from Toronto. And for others, good evening. Maybe there may be others who might be joining in other places. Maybe good afternoon to them. So, as you can see the flyer, let's get started with the flyer. As you can see, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, setting in motion the wheel of Dhamma. Samyutta Nikaya 56.11. Actually, it's very interesting to understand where is this sutta located, right? Because we may know certain suttas in the Pali Canon. We might not have located this sutta. Where is this sutta located? Because it is said to be the first sutta which the Buddha gave to anybody else. I mean, I would say the 5 ascetics. Maybe let's get started by looking at the place of this sutta, and then we will have a certain knowledge of this sutta and how it was categorized. I'm going to share the screen. All right, as you can see here, let's go to Sutta Central. So under the Sutta Central, you can see Sutta Pitaka. I'm going to click on that. There you see Digha, Majjhima, Samyutta, Anguttara. It's going to be under Samyutta Nikaya, collection of linked discourses. And we're going to be clicking on the Samyutta Nikaya Pali version. This is Sanskrit. And you can see the main Samyutta, Sagata, Nidana, Kanda, Salayatana, Maha. Basically, there are 5 Samyuttas. Where is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta given? It is under the last Samyutta, Mahavagga Samyutta. Remove that. There you see Magga Samyutta, Bojjhanga, Satipatthana, Indriya, Sammappadhana, Bala, Iddhipada, Anuruddha, Jhana, Anapana, Sotapatta. Such it should be, it's about the Four Noble Truths. It must be inside the Satya Samyutta. We're going to be clicking on that. There you see almost 100 over suttas. You can see from here 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 131 suttas actually, almost. Out of these 131 suttas in the Satya Samyutta, we're going to be going on to the Dhammacakkappavattana Vagga. Just click on that. There you go. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Right? So it comes under the Mahavagga Samyutta, and the subsection is Satya Samyutta. Under Satya Samyutta, you can see it is given as the 56.11 Sutta. There are other suttas too, Tathagata Sutta, Kanda Sutta, right? They are all about the Four Noble Truths. Right? See here, this is the sutta. But this sutta text is mostly concise because you can see the repetitions have been omitted. As you can see, the word pe means repetitions. That means you don't see the full sutta. because the repetitions have been taken out. All right, so now you know where is this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta mentioned. It is under the Samyutta Nikaya. Samyutta Nikaya has 5 main Samyuttas. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta falls into the last one, Mahavagga Samyutta. And Mahavagga Samyutta has a couple other Samyuttas. And you go to the last Samyutta here, Sutta Samyutta. And the second chapter of the Sutta Samyutta is Dhammacakkappavattana. There you see the Sutta. All right. Now the problem is, why is the first so-called considered sutta that the Buddha gave to 5 ascetics given to the Samyutta Nikaya? This is a question. The answer to that question is that these suttas, almost all suttas, were undergone a certain structure. The structure is, as you can see, the long suttas were given onto the Digha Nikaya, and the middle length suttas were given onto the Majjhima Nikaya. And whatever the numbers which the suttas are talking about, let's say there are 2 subpurisas, 2 good people, 3 sections, 5 sections, there are 10 things to contemplate. These number-based teachings were given on to Anguttara Nikaya. And Samyutta Nikaya means there are certain sections where Buddha gives teachings to certain Brahmins, certain wanderers, Paribrajakas, certain kings like Kosala Samyutta, not only the individuals, but also certain topics. Now, if you see Satipatthanas, I think all of you know Satipatthana Sutta, right? There are 2 Satipatthana Suttas. The popular one is in the Majjhima Nikaya, and there's a longer one in Digha Nikaya. But there is a separate section in the Samyutta Nikaya, as you could see there, as Sotapatti Samyutta. That means more teachings about Satipatthana. More teachings about the Satipatthana were given under the Samyutta Nikaya's Satipatthana Samyutta. That means just by reading the 2 Satipatthana Suttas is not enough. You must go to the Samyutta Nikaya and also read the Satipatthana Samyutta. So there are the additional teachings about the Satipatthana. Let's say you learn about the Sotapanna person, how to become a Sotapanna person. Then you want to know more information about how to become a Sotapanna. What is it like to be a Sotapanna? What is the Sotapatti? What to do? What are the prerequisites about being a Sotapanna? Where can we find them? There's a certain section, separate section called Sotapatti Samyutta, which is given under the Samyutta Nikaya. So Samyutta Nikaya represents a milestone, I think a landmark, among the teachings of the Buddha. So, Satya Samyutta, teachings about the 4 Noble Truths, they were given under the Satya Samyutta. We have a Q&A session at the end, so if you have any questions, please note them so you can ask probably at the end of this discussion. Now, let's go to the Sutta's text. All right. So this text is the text that I will be using. So I am going to share this text under the Google Classroom, probably after this. So you can download or maybe print out, whatever, but you're going to refer to this text because I have separated out sections to understand what they mean. You can see here from this point afterwards, it's about the Kamasukhallikama, sensual indulgence. From this point onwards, it's about Arthakilamatami, self-modification. So in this way, I have what you call sectionalize about the topics, middle part, and then 4 Noble Truths. Then Dhammacakka. What is Dhammacakka? Why is Dhammacakka? The idea of a wheel is attached to this sutta, Dhammacakka. And Then, how did Venerable Kondan become a Sotapanna person? And after this sutta was properly delivered by the Buddha, how did a cry, a certain sound, go into certain almost all the heavens and Brahma worlds, Brahma realms? So finally, the end. It will take some time to finish this sutta because we are taking some time to look at the context of this sutta. Today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you an introduction of the sutta. Right? We are not going to discuss everything about the sutta. We're going to talk about the most important, significant parts of this sutta. I think that you may have chanted this sutta. Probably you may have listened to the chanting of this sutta whenever you go to a Buddhist vihara or maybe online, right? So that might be the main exposure, main encounter you may have already. Other than that, I don't know whether you have a thorough understanding about this sutta. Let's get started with the background. How did the Buddha teach this sutta? Now, as we understand, the Shakyamuni Buddha attained Buddhahood when he was 35 years old. As you know, that after his Buddhahood, he wanted to give his precious Dhamma to his friends, mostly his teachers. Then he was looking for his teachers. How many teachers did he have before? He had 3 main teachers, not 2. The first one is Bhargava. Bhargava. Probably I can write it over here. If I could see here. The first one is Bhargava. But this, what do you call, the name of this particular teacher is not that mentioned. See. Bhargava, the first teacher. And then he went to another teacher called Alara Kala. Alara Kala. Then he wanted to proceed his, what do you call, his samadhi. Then he approached another teacher called Uddaka Rama. Yeah, Uddaka Rama. Yeah, you can see them, maybe here. Bhargava, Alara Kala, Uddaka Rama. Now, by the time he became the Buddha wanted to see what they are doing at that point. They already passed away. They had died. So he thought, now who will be my next point of reference, next point of help after? Because these 3 were not there at that time. Then he thought there was a group of monks who gave me a wrong advice, right? Who gave me a wrong advice. So the wrong advice was, the more you give pain to your body, the closer you will be to the enlightenment. Sambodh. It was a wrong advice. We will discuss why it is a wrong advice later, not today. So, but anyways, they gave me an advice. They were trying to help me, but it was a wrong advice. Do we have such people in our life? Do we have friends who try to help us, but the wrong advice? Their advice is wrong, but their intentions are good. So he thought, never mind, I'm going to look for these ascetics who said something to me, but they abandoned me. They abandoned me because I found out that whatever they told me was not really working. Because as you can see that for 6 years, he actually spent a very difficult life. in terms of giving lots of pain to the body. We call it Artha Kilamatana Yoga. You can see in many other suttas, such as Arya Pariyasana Sutta and many other suttas, to understand how the ascetic Siddhartha faced numerous difficulties about the practice of, in practicing the ascetic, practices. And ascetic Siddhartha understood by himself that giving pain is not giving me any support for the Sambodhi. Now, as you can see, the giving pain to the body comes from a bad sila. Right? When you practice sila wrongly, it gives you the pain. Right? That's why the Buddha said in many suttas that if you want to become a Sotapanna, you have to overcome wrong sila, bad sila, extreme sila, silabbata paramas. Interesting, huh? So the ideas of the 5 ascetics fall into this silabbata paramas. Because that kind of sila will never lead anybody to attain, even arahanthood. Right? So the practical advice at this point for you is that never go to practice sila extremely. Now you might be surprised, what is this Bhante talking? He's saying don't go into the wrong sila. Yes. Wrong sila, extreme sila is not beneficial to you. Then how to practice sila? You have to practice sila to go to the samadhi. Don't end up in the sila. That is why the Buddha said in the Noble Eightfold Path that before you practice sila, you need to understand why you are going to practice sila. But many of our Buddhist people don't know why they are supposed to practice sila. They might know their own partial versions, but they don't have the proper understanding of why they are supposed to practice sila. So what will happen is that they end up with rules, sila rules. Sila cannot be a rule. Sila is a purification process, self-purification process. You know by yourself that your body, speech, mind have been purified, right? So anyways, 5 ascetics suggestion to practice these extremely ascetic practices, which are on a par with, which are very similar to the Jains, the Niganta's followers, did not help ascetic Siddhartha. But he was sort of under pressure by these 5 ascetics. And then anyways, because one of the ascetics from the 5 ascetics was Kondanya. Kondanya was one of the Brahmins who came to give a name to the Prince Siddhartha, right? Kondanya is the one who said to the King Suddhodana that this son, would be the Samasambhuta. So Prince Siddhartha had just an affinity, sort of an association with him, because he proclaimed that I would be the Buddha. So maybe what he says is true. Maybe I have to follow what they say. Maybe he was kind of, mistaken in that sense. So anyways, now the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, found out where these 5 ascetics are living at that point, and they are living in Benares. And then, so I need to go there. So he went to see them and then to, give them the precious teaching to get started his Dhamma teachings, right? He hasn't started yet. So he wanted to give the teaching. So he went to Benares, and then 5 ascetics were living in the deer park, called by Migadaya, and they did not accept him in the first place. And then finally, they accepted the Buddha in a way. And then, but only Anya Kondanya, the Brahmin Anya Kondanya, ascetic Anya Kondanya, became a Sotapanna at the end of the sutta. And others could not attain the Sotapanna. But now the most important thing is that why you are learning this sutta, right? This is something very important. to actually know at the beginning. Your purpose of learning this sutta should go beyond the trust about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha here. You have to learn what is exactly meant by this sutta. What are the real contents of this sutta? And we are going to look at the context of this sutta separately. Now, just to get some interest about the sutta, let's get into the text again. Okay, I think we can do this part today. This part. This is the starting point. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Let's understand the meaning of this term. Dhamma, then Chakka, Pavattana. Is blue color good to highlight? Should be okay, yeah? All right. What does Dhamma mean here? Yeah, Dhamma. What does Dhamma mean? So we have to clarify this first at the beginning. Now, there are multiple meanings about the term called Dhamma. I want to first give you an understanding about what does Dhamma mean. Let's pay some attention to this term. All right. Dhamma. All right. Dhamma, as you can see, Dhamma, right? And Dhamma, right? If you can bring it here, better to. Yes. There are three Pali terms. What does Dhamma mean? Capital D. This Dhamma means doctrine. Right? Doctrine. That means a teaching of someone, a teaching of the Buddha, doctrine of the Buddha, Dhamma of the Buddha, Dhamma of the Hinduism, doctrine of the Hinduism, Dhamma of Christianity, right? So what anybody's Dhamma, anybody's teachings can be understood as Dhamma, D capital. And then the second Dhamma, Dhamma, actually it has to be like this. I'm going to Dhamma. What does Dhamma mean? Dhamma, simple D-H-A-M-M, long A, Dhamma. Dhamma means thoughts. Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya, Man. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. What are the objects that are coming onto these senses? Images, rupas come onto the eyes. Then saddha means sounds go to the ears. Saddha. Right? And then gandha, smell, goes to the nose. Then rasa, taste, goes to the jivha, right? To the tongue. And then touch, I would say pottabba. Pottabba goes to the body. And then Dhamma. Dhamma go to the mind. Dhamma means thoughts. In that example, now here you see this word Dhamma. This Dhamma means thoughts. This means thoughts. Yeah. So now we already know two meanings of the homonym called Dhamma. Dhamma means doctrine or teaching, and Dhamma means thoughts. Then we have again Dhamma. Dhamma, not Dhamma. Dhamma means Dhamma of life, Dhamma of everything. Dhamma means true nature of anything. Now we can say, what is the Dhamma of my life? What is the true nature of my life? What is the Dhamma of the Panchakanda, five aggregates? What is the true nature of the five aggregates? What is the Dhamma of what do you call my akusala? What is the true nature of my akusala? So Dhamma in that context means true nature. Let's write that. True nature. True nature. As you can see, capital D Dhamma, doctrine, and simple D Dhamma, thoughts, and simple D Dhamma, true nature. Right? Now, in addition to this doctrine, as you know, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, that Dhamma is here. Right? So there are a couple meanings about Dhamma. Actually, somebody did a PhD about the multiple meanings of the Dhamma. The multiple meanings of the Dhamma means that there are many meanings. So the meaning that is applicable to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is the first interpretation, first meaning, that is they call Dhamma, the doctrine. But there are other contexts of Dhamma too. So you will understand as you read the suttas. Let's go back again. Then Chakka. Chakka means Chakka, wheel. It's a wheel. Now you know Dhammacakka. But today's Dhammacakkas that you see in many places are not real Dhammacakkas. The spokes have come out of the wheel. I don't know what Chakka is that. Because then it cannot, move. Let's take a look. I mean, these different Dhammacakkas, I think, yeah. Yeah, this is a good Dhammacakka. As you can see, it can turn. Yeah, this kind of Dhammacakka has, I mean, it's like an anchor, right? I mean, it doesn't seem that it can be smoothly, set in motion actually. So the shape of the Dhammacakka has been changed over time, probably by the people who have been making them. But Dhammacakka should be a wheel that should have the facility to, push. But what does Dhammacakka mean here? Because Buddha is going to rotate, I would say, set this particular Dhamma wheel in motion. So how do we understand this Dhammacakka? What is the context of Dhammacakka in this sutta? We understand Dhamma. How can it become a Dhamma? A lot of people misunderstand. A lot of people think, okay, maybe it's like a wheel, so you're going to travel to another place, right? It is just motion, right? But it's not what it means. It's not what the Dhammacakka means. This is one thing you're going to be learning. Here, Dhammacakka means that an understanding of the Four Noble Truth requires three vattas, Tiparivatta and Dwadasakara. We call them here. I will just show you a little bit. Right, let's see. You can see Dhammacakka. See, 3 perspectives and 12 aspects. Right? So, because the Buddha taught his Dhamma according to 3 perspectives and 12 aspects, that is the reason why you call this sutta explains the Four Noble Truths under the Dhammacakka. And it is not because of the motion. Right? you want to know more information, we can go into a flyer. See a flyer. All right. See. Yeah, Four Noble Truths should be understood within three perspectives and 12 aspects. As you can see over here, you can see, because the Four Noble Truths were given in a framework of a vatta, like a circle. That is why we call that there is a Dhammacakka here. You can see every noble truth has to be understood in three ways. Satcha Kitcha Kata. Satcha Kitcha Kata. Satcha Kitcha Kata. Satcha Kitcha. Satcha means knowledge and understanding the role of that particular knowledge, and to feel that you have understood that properly. So this is how we understand three perspectives of each noble truth. So this is what is called by the Dhammacakka. So it is not a wheel in the sense of motion. I mean, you might see that this could be the reason why the sutta got the name called a rotation, like a motion. But the context of the Dhammacakka is that this Dhammacakka was given to the Four Noble Truths in a way that the truth or the Four Noble Truths includes a vatta, a motion-based vatta, in order to understand the Four Noble Truths. That's why it is called a Dhammacakka. Now, let's go back to the sutta. Sutta's name, Dhamma, you understand the doctrine. Chakra is a wheel, but this Dhammacakka, what you call the wheel of the Dhamma, was given in the context of what you call the Tiparivatta and Dwadasakara, three aspects and 12 perspectives. Then Pavattana means how to make that happen. Now, in this case, the Buddha set the wheel of Dhamma in motion in the context of giving that Four Noble Truth teaching under three aspects and 12 perspectives. All right, makes sense, and we will be studying that in a future session. Don't worry, we will be studying each of these contexts separately. But for now, just to understand, Dhammacakka does not basically mean that there is a wheel that is going from one place to the other place. The sutta got its name because there's a larger purpose. The larger purpose is that the Four Noble Truths were to be understood by the Samma Sambuddha in a way that there are certain areas, three perspectives, three aspects and 12 perspectives, and it looked to be a wheel, the way how the Buddha understood the Four Noble Truths. And now he is going to deliver that teaching. So that is what we have to understand by the Dhammacakkappavattana. Then the word called Sutta. I think a lot of people question about this word. Now, you may have seen that sometimes you might see some suttas are called Paritta, isn't it? Paritta. Some suttas are suttas. Why some suttas are parittas, other suttas are not parittas? Any reason? Why these monastic Sangha members only say that these suttas are more powerful than other suttas you may have seen somewhere? The Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta has been a paritta, right? Because it has added into the chanting book. Why there are not many suttas, only 34 to 35 suttas were only included in the chanting book. All these suttas are initially suttas. Buddha did not consider them to be suttas. He just loosely kept talking, kept teaching whomever he met on his Dhamma journey. But in the first Sangha, first council, which happened after 3 months of the Buddha's passing away, the Sangha members, they compile oral traditions. You take care of this area. You take care of this area. Longer suttas will be taken care by Arahant Anand and his disciples. And the middle length suttas, Majjhima Nikaya, will be taken care by Arahant Sariputta, who already passed away, but his disciples. And the Anguttara Nikaya, the numerical portions of the Buddha's teachings, will be taken care of by Arahant Anuruddha and his followers, his disciples. And Samyutta Nikaya will be taken care of by Arahant Mahakassapa and his followers. Kuttaka Nikaya by everyone. Right? This is how it worked. So they added Sutta, the term Sutta, collections. All right, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Now you know a basic understanding about. Let's study about these two parts. Ekang samayang bhagava bara nasiyang viharati isipatane migadai tatrako bhagava panchavaki bhikkhu amantis. All right. Who said this part? Ekang samayang bhagava bara nasiyang viharati isipatane migadai tatrako bhagava panchavaki bhikkhu amantis. Now, what do you think about this statement? Whose wording is? This is by the Sangha members, right? Now, because this sutta is coming under the Samyutta Nikaya, it cannot be given by Bhante Anand. Why? He is supposed to take care of Digha Nikaya. Right? So this wording must have come from Arahant Mahakassapa and his disciples, because Samyutta Nikaya was taken care by them. Then Sangha members, enlightened, unenlightened Sangha members from the Arahant Mahakassapa and his followers. They are the ones who were describing the background story of this sutta. Ekam samayam bhagava varanasya. Now let me tell you something. Please pay attention to this Pali word. Samayam. Samayam. Samayam means, what does samayam mean? Samayam means samayam, right? Samayam. Samayam has meaning. Samayam has 9 meanings in Pali. Interesting, huh? 9 meanings. This word itself has 9 meanings. That is why you have to be very careful. I caution you. Just looking up a dictionary, you won't be able to pick it up. That's why you should be able to consult someone who has a thorough understanding about suttas, especially the Pali, not just the English one. So here, samayam is time. Right? It's the time. Ekam samaya, right? Now here occasion, time, ekam, one time. Bhagava, we have discussed about this Pali term, Bhagava. Why did these council monks, now in this case, Arahant Mahakassapa and his followers, did not call the teacher in the name of the Buddha? Why they call the Buddha as a Bhagava? Why he was called as Bhagava? Why not the Buddha? What is the reason for that? That's interesting, right? Now, it is not a synonym. Bhagava and Buddha, they are not synonyms. Now, this is what I am going to make clear. In our sutta study, we are going to learn some Pali, especially Pali context, not just struggle among the English translations. That's why you come here, to learn the proper meaning of these words too. Sutta study, one purpose of sutta study is to understand the correct meaning, correct Pali context. Bhagava is the proper epithet that was given to the Buddha. You may translate lucky one, blessed one, this one, that one. Bhagava is not just blessed one, lucky one. It is something beyond that. And see, itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja Charana Sampan Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Kusadama Santi Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagava is the last quality of the Buddha. Right? Arahang Samma Sambuddha Vijja Charana Sampan Sugata Lokavidu Anuttaro Kusadama Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagava. Ninth one. Bhagava means Bhagga Rago, Bhagga Doso, Bhagga Mo. What is Bhagga? The person who uprooted Raga, the person who uprooted Dosa, the person who uprooted the Mo. What is uprooting meant over here? Uprooting means Shakyamuni here Buddha said Bhagava, he got this term Bhagava in the context of that he uprooted. Now when you take out a certain plant or a tree, if you do not uproot it, if you do not take it out from the root, there is a chance that the plant will be growing again, right? In the same way, the Buddha uprooted Raga Dosa Moha. That is why he is called Bhagava. Bhagga Raga, Bhagga Dosa, Bhagga Moha. Now, when you say the blessed one, do you find that meaning? Would you find it? You wouldn't find it. But one idea is that Bhagava means the one who is what you call blessed in a way. But the by definition, Bhagava means the one who uprooted Raga Dosa Moha. Right? So the meaning goes in that context. So Bhagava is the usual term that was used by many, senior Sangha members. Even the Buddha himself, he used Bhagava for him. Why doesn't the term Buddha, carry that weight about the Buddha? Because the word Buddha is a common term for even the Arahants. Samma Sambuddha, Pacceka Buddha, Arahanta Buddha. Even the Arahants are called as Buddhas. Even the Arahants are called as Buddhas. So that is why we have to understand why did the Sangha members use the term called Bhagava. Ekang Samayang, on one occasion, one time, Bhagava. Bhagava. Now we wouldn't translate this to be the blessed one. I would say Bhagava means Bhagava. Sometimes when you cannot translate, you just remain with that Pali word. Right? One very bad translation is Metta, to be loving kindness. Is Metta loving kindness? Because Karuna is kindness. Karuna is compassion. The practical way of practicing compassion is kindness. Then how come certain Karuna went on to the Metta? How come there is a hybrid translation for Metta? Metta basically means friendliness. You are extending friendliness to others, to yourself and to others. Right? So we have to definitely understand then the context of these Pali terms properly. Ekang Samayang Bhagava, then Varanasi. It's of course a city, Benares, Varanasi. Viharati Isipatani. Viharati means he stays. Isipatani, Migadai. So you understand, Migadai means the deer park. This place is called a sanctuary for the deers. Actually, there was a king who went on hunting and then something happened to him. And then he gave what you call Abhaya Dana. There's a Dana called fearless Dana. Right? Sometimes in our life, when we are dealing with some other people get scared of us. Huh? Not that we are showing some different faces to them. I mean, the way how we deal with them. So we feel bad about that, right? When we deal with certain individuals, they are very stressed out because of us. Because the way we talk, the way we act, the way we give ideas to them. So we should not scare them. Huh? So once in a while, we can make them happy. Not happy, I would say. We can make them. We can make sure that that they are secure. Their feelings are secure. Their behavior is secure. That we don't intimidate, right? Their activities. So in the same way, one king went on to this area, and something happened to him, and then he decided he would, you know, he would actually deliver a certain mandate that nobody can hunt deers in this particular area. That is why it became Migadai, right? So Migadai. And then you would see another Pali word over here, Isipatani. Isipatani. What does Isipatani mean? Isipatani? Anybody can give some thoughts about Isipatani? Oh, you are writing in the chat now. I didn't see that. Interesting. Don't write a lot, just listen to me too. Huh? Isipatani. Isipatani mean at that time, some Pacheka Buddhas. You know the Pacheka Buddhas? These Pacheka Buddhas mean the second enlightenment category. Samma Sambuddha, Pacheka Buddha and Arahanta, right? So Pacheka Buddhas are not born during the Samma Sambuddha's time. They are born when the Samma Sambuddhas are not living, actually. So there were some Pacheka Buddhas, when they are levitating, they were landing onto certain areas of the Benamis. So Isipatana means those Pacheka Buddhas, or another, I would say, rishis, saints, hermits, they were landing in this place. Isipatana. Patana means falling. Their levitation, came to an end, probably a landing place. In today's world, like an airport. They are levitating and then finally landing on a certain land. So Isipatana means this deer park was a famous place for rishis to land after their levitation in other places. Pacheka Buddhas, Hindu rishis, and all these people. Isipatana. Isi means sages, sages, hermits, even the Pacheka Buddhas. Ekang Samayan Bhagava. So on one occasion time, the Bhagava staying what you call at Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana. Tatrako Bhagava, again you see Bhagava, Panchavagye Bhikkhu Amantesi. They are the Bhagava, the Buddha, address the bhikkhus of the group of 5. Bhikkhu. Now we have a problematic statement in our understanding. How come 5 ascetics were called as bhikkhu? By this time there was no sangha. So why do we see that sangha, word sangha in here? Right? The Buddha did not formally establish sangha, right, at this point, but they were called as bhikkhu. Interesting. Now we have to find out this meaning. Now the word bhikkhu was not a specific term for the Buddhist Sangha at that time. The word bhikkhu was given to all the wandering monks at that time. Because 1,500 years before the Buddha's time is the starting point of the Brahmins. The Vedas, these Vedas started 1,500 years before, right? So after some time of this Vedic understanding, the Brahmins were taking care of the, a priestly class, and they were sacrificing different people, different things, animals to the god. And then there were certain groups started thinking, no, the god cannot do things to us. So it is only by watching the inner self in their Atma concept, that we can enlighten at a certain point. So since that time, this samana groups, the bhikkhu groups were actually, they were uh, actually existing. That is why Panchavaggiya, these 5 ascetics were called as bhikkhu, not as isis. Huh? You didn't see them as isis, pancha isis. They are Panchavaggiya bhikkhu. So bhikkhu was a very common term for all these wandering monks at that time. Tatrako Bhagava Panchavaggiya. Pancha means 5. Huh? The Pali word Pancha means 5. Vagga means a group. Now bhikkhu amantes. Now the Buddha addresses these 5 monks. Dve me bhikkhave anta pabbajitena nasevitappa. One of the, I think, extremely, misunderstood statement by many people. Now, the Buddha says to these 5 ascetics, we call them Panchavaggiya monks, Dve. Dve means, what does Dve mean? 2. 2. Bhikkhave monks, there are 2 anta extremes, which pabbajitena na nasevitappa. That means there are 2 extreme paths that bhikkhus, monks, in this case nuns too, should not associate. Did the Buddha say that these 2 ends should be avoided by the lay people? No. He said that there are 2 extreme ends in the search of the truth, which monks and nuns should not be associating. Right? They have to avoid these 2. Because lay people have a different life. Buddha has taught the teachings for the lay people different, isn't it? Now lay people have been practicing, but monks have to practice. In today's world, they have been confused, right? Because it is a big problem nowadays, actually. Because if we teach monastic Buddhism to the lay people without teaching them the lay people Buddhism, now I refer to lay people Buddhism from the suttas like Sigalova, the Sutta Mahamangala Sutta, Pattakamma Sutta, Vyaggapadya Sutta, and many other suttas. They were meant for the lay people like you. Nowadays, these suttas were largely dismissed, ignored, highly ignored. And if anybody asks a question, Bhante, I have a problem in my life. Yeah, anicca dukkha anatta. Practice anicca dukkha anatta. Or maybe it's your karma problem. These are the 2 wrong interpretations of the lay life. Yes, anicca dukkha anatta is a higher teaching. We are going to look at it at a different, higher level. But lay people's life has to be understood primarily from those suttas. If we don't understand, we are disrespecting those suttas. Because Buddha himself taught us these suttas, especially for the lay people. If lay people have a problem in their life, their first point of reference is not the high-end sutta which was given to a monastic, but a sutta which was given to a lay people. Particularly for a lay people, particularly for lay people as a group, right? So that must be understood clearly. Now here, the Buddha says there are 2 things, there are 2 extreme paths. A monastic, not a lay person. Let's go see the Pali here. Dve me bhikkhave anta pabbajitena. Pabbajitena nasevitappa. Because these 2 extremes should not be followed by one who has gone forth into pabbajja. That means Attakilamatanu Yoga and Kamasupallika Yoga, which means self-mortification, giving pain to the body and giving lot of happiness to the body. These should be avoided by the Sangha members in the first place. Now there are some lay people who might think, no, we also need to do that. Huh? We are also like Sangha members now. You are lay people, but you should understand how the context was given here. Later on in your life, you might understand, you might practice certain elements of these 2. But this was meant for the Sangha members, meant for the bhikkhus, at most bhikkhunis too. Okay? Dve me bhikkhave anta pabbajitena nasevita. Right? And we're going to be looking at Yo Chayang Kamasukallikam Yogo and then here Attavilamitam Yogo. So I'm going to leave at this point because our next topic for next upcoming Tuesday will be Kamasukallikam Yoga, a good understanding about the Kamasukallikam Yoga. So up until here, what we have been learning is that what does Dhammacakkappavattana, the term Dhammacakkappavattana mean? What is the context of Dhammacakkappavattana? Where is this sutta mentioned? And we also need to discuss a little bit about why is it very important. Can we think about the importance of this sutta? The importance of this sutta comes in a very high point. The importance is that this is the first sutta where the Buddha delivers his message, his main message. His main message is the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths should be understood in their particular context, especially from the Tiparivatta and Dvadasakha. Actually, if you look at the Four Noble Truths, you will understand that there are no Four Noble Truths. There is only one truth. But the Buddha had to say it in four. What do you see? Dukkha Ariya Satya, Dukkha Samudaya Ariya Satya, Dukkha Nirodha Ariya Satya, Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada. What is meant at each Satya? Dukkha, 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 Dukkha. Why then he gave it in four? Because there was a culture at that time in the Buddha's, during the Buddha's time. If anybody wants to give anything to the society, they have to bring that into a framework, like medicine and a sickness. There is a sickness, there is a cause of the sickness, there's a remedy or a what you call a recovery, and there's a treatment plan. So Buddha had to put his finding into these four ways. But finally, truth is one. Actually, there can't be four truths. The truth is there is a certain dukkha that is lying in every experience, subtle and gross. But anyways, because we understand them as four at the moment, we will still call it as Four Noble Truths. But if you look at it, you will see that there is only one big truth. That means dukkha, and the rest are what you call aspects of the dukkha. There's dukkha, there's a reason, cause for the dukkha, and there is a cessation of the dukkha, and there's a path which leads to the dukkha. So this is the first sutta in which the Buddha delivers that message. So then this bears lots of importance. But anyways, this sutta does not elaborate on the Four Noble Truths. That's something you need to think about. Why the Buddha did not elaborate? Because it's the abstract. Although you see certain things down the line, Buddha did not elaborate on the sutta. Then who elaborate on this Four Noble Truth after this sutta? Then the Buddha understood that he did not elaborate on the Four Noble Truths. So he once asked Arahant Sariputta, can you elaborate on this Dhammacakkappavattana sutta? Then what happened? He gave another sutta called Satcha Vibhanga Sutta. What is it? Satcha Vibhanga Sutta, analysis of the truths. In that sutta, Arahant Sariputta clearly elaborates what is dukkha and what is dukkha samudaya ariya satya, what is dukkha nirodha ariya satya, what is dukkha nirodha gamini patipada ariya satya, right? And it's a very elaborated sutta which is mentioned in the Majjhima Nikaya. Interesting, huh? All right, I think we have come to a certain understanding about what this sutta means. At the same time, the meaning of the sutta, particularly the title of the sutta and the context and the importance. And then now we are going to learn the first topic of the sutta next Tuesday. But I think now we can go for a Q&A if you have any questions. Bante,
Yes.
what is the root word for uprooting that lends to Bhagavan? We had to find it out. We call it Bhagnati. We had to find it out actually. Let me find it out. Give you the root word. Yes. This is the root word. Bhanjati. Bhanjati. Bhanjati means to break, destroy. Let me type that for everybody. To break. Bhanjati. To break. So, Bhagga is a past participle. In Pali grammar, it's a past participle of Bhanjati. So, we understand break, uproot, in this case, uproot.
This is from Brother Chihua. Bante, are you saying that the Four Noble Truths can be understood as a wheel? How do the three perspectives and four aspects fit into a wheel?
I'm saving information for that. You need to come to a future lesson. That is uh, that is one topic that I will be discussing in the future in this Sutta Discovery. Actually, they are connected because these three aspects and 12 perspectives are the ways and means how bodhisattvas are looking at the Four Noble Truths. So, by understanding these three aspects and 12 perspectives only, they became the Buddha. So, they take these, what you call, three vattas and Dwadasakara as spokes of a wheel. That is how it is connected. But I will give more information in another lesson that is coming up actually. So, please be patient for that. Say what are the suttas for lay people? Very interesting.
Yes. Yes.
All right. You want me to write it down here? Okay. Let's start from Mahamangala Sutta. Mahamangala Sutta is number 1. Number 2 is Sigaluvada Sutta. Number 3 is very importantly Pattakamma Sutta. Number 4 is Vyaggapaja Sutta. And many more. I don't want to give you a lot of suttas because I know you don't have lots of time. I think these 4 are enough because these 4 should not be read just by reading a novel and a book. You have to understand the meaning slowly, gradually. Lots of things to be learned. So these 4 suttas are adequate for you to understand that the Buddha talks about a lay Buddhism. Lay people must follow this particular, their side of Buddhism. Don't go to those higher monastic teachings right away. They are not for you in the first place. You will learn some teachings when you have a good understanding about your lay life. All right. Bante, why teacher Bhargava not popular like Alara and Uddaka? Well, maybe he was not mentioned a lot in many suttas. And because we understand the Buddha as a bodhisattva, ascetic Siddhartha, could attain certain arupavachara jhanas under Alara Kalaram and Uddakaram Buddha. Maybe Bhargava was not that much supportive, but he was a teacher. But his name is mentioned in some places. Interesting. That one I had to take a look. Sutta, but he's a teacher. I will look it up and let you know. Bante, is Sutta longer than Paritta? You cannot understand Sutta and Paritta in terms of the size. Now, my question is why some suttas were taken as paritta, why some suttas were not taken as paritta. It is because certain monks, because the chanting book was made in Sri Lanka. The original chanting book, you don't have it now with you. But the chanting book you have has a lot of Mahayana parittas now. Right? The chanting book, the piece of small book that you have, uh, uh, include a lot of Mahayana suttas, such as those suttas that are coming at the end, right? But original chanting book, which was made during the Anuradhapura era in Sri Lanka, it had around 34 suttas. So the monks at the Mahavihara, they only chose certain suttas that they thought that these suttas would be more powerful in terms of the contents. But we may not be able to agree at certain point because every sutta must have a certain, Dhamma understanding. Because when people don't practice Dhamma, just by listening to a chanting might not give enough blessings, right? Because these suttas can be read by anybody, yeah? Even a good person and a bad person. So in order to get the true blessings of a sutta in the way of a chanting, the person should have a reading and understanding about the context of the sutta. Then you are listening to somebody. Even a Sangha member can do it with lots of compassion. The Buddha said, when you chant to someone, a devotee, you must have compassion like Bhante Anand. Bhante Anand is the most compassionate one after the Buddha. Right? So we cannot say because initially all the parittas are suttas. So we cannot say paritta is longer than sutta. All these parittas are suttas too. But some suttas were taken as paritta. Then, which is more important for our understanding? The Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta or the principles of cause and effect. Principles of cause and effect means Patisamuppada. It comes under the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's Four Noble Truths teaching. You cannot separate these two. Paticca comes under the Four Noble Truths. You see the elements of the Patisamuppada, cause and effect under the Four Noble Truths. You cannot separate them and see what is more important. The Four Noble Truth is the highest, the most important teaching. Bhante, which form is the right symbol of Dhammacakka? Now, I mean, as you can understand, if it is a chakra wheel, the spokes shouldn't have come out of the wheel. It's like, common sense. So it should be a wheel which has spokes within. Isn't the parittas chanted? Yes, as I told you, some suttas were cherry picked and they are chanted in a way that they have a certain meaning for blessings. Bhante, can I know why 12 aspects? Is it 12 times of confirmation? Well, each noble truth carries 3 aspects, right? Each noble truth carries 3 aspects. So bodhisattvas are going to understand these 3 aspects, which in turn multiply by 4. If each noble truth has to be understood in 3 ways, and you see 3 multiplied by 4, and you will get the number of 12. So the idea of this is that Sambuddhas understand, I would say, Bodhisattvas understand the Four Noble Truths within a very, structured process. That structured process is carrying 12 perspectives. So that is why it has 12 perspectives. So they don't simply understand each noble truth separately. But each noble truth is to be understood by bodhisattvas in 3 main ways, plus carried by 12 other perspectives. That is why we say 12 aspects, 12 perspectives actually. But if we reflect and learn this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, do we able to reach certain levels in the Ariya? Why not? This is the starting point. That's why you are here. If you have started your Dhamma journey from other suttas, I think it might not be a good start. So you have to start your Dhamma journey from here. Although this was meant for the Sangha members, you start from here, then you are moving towards your lay people's version of Buddhism. Of course, this will help you to become a Sota. Bhante, the word Dhamma originates from Sanskrit as Dhru, which means to hold up. This is in Sanskrit, Dhru means dharana, hold up, yes. But when it comes to the Pali context, we normally understand Dhamma to be the teaching of the Buddha, the whole teaching of the Buddha. Sanskrit has a different perspective too, in addition to truth. What happened to the king at the park who then declared the place as Migadai? This was a king long time ago, even the Buddha's time. So we don't have lots of information about this king. He only declared this place as a sanctuary. In my bare memory, I think what happened was that he went for hunting. Somehow he was lost in this area. And then I think he was supported by some deers. And he felt so good about these deers. And then he declared that nobody should hunt in this area. How many spikes should be in the wheel? 8, 12, 24. We cannot see a number exactly, but now we see that here there are 12 perspectives, definitely, right? So if we take that teaching, it could be 12. Please explain again in your context, why is Dhammacakka not literally a wheel? And if not, what does it symbolize? It symbolizes the Tiparivatta Dwadasakama. That means the word Dhammacakka in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta does not simply mean a simple wheel that is in motion. It means a wheel which has, in this case, 12 perspectives and 3 aspects, which shows a framework of a wheel. Because at that time in India, they all had this framework of a wheel, chakra. So it is not just a wheel by literal interpretation. It includes certain aspects of the Four Noble Truths, wherein which it got the name as Dhammacakka. Is it the 12 spokes that signifies the 12 aspects and therefore called? Yes, that would be what we understand. Have you answered the word bhikkhu for the 5 ascetics? That there was no Sangha yet, while other suttas normally used the samana, brahman, or practitioners outside the Buddha Sangha, right? Well, this is how the Buddha addressed these 5 ascetics. What I understand is that they could be beyond samana. I mean, samana means a general term for all the wanderers, but probably these 5 ascetics have been practicing some higher practices of the samana, which led Buddha to call them Sangha members, although they were not proper Sangha. Last question. Venerable Ananda recited all the suttas during the first Buddhist council by citing Evam Me Sutta, but for this sutta expounded to the 5 ordinary monks before the Sangha was formed, did Buddha share this sutta to Venerable Ananda in private as a Dhammacakkappavattana, was not repeated to any other audience during his 45 years of time? Well, what we understand here is that after the first Sanghayana, yes, we understand that Buddha had to repeat all these suttas to Bhante Ananda. This is what we heard. But at the same time, during the first Sanghayana, this role was deputized. It was actually given to all the other Sangha members, especially this was a part of Samyutta Nikaya, definitely under the Arhan Mahakashyapa and his followers. Is this the fact that Dhammacakka Sutta was not recited by Bhante Ananda? But well, we don't know. We don't know who actually. There's no particular naming, but we have an abstract knowledge that it was by Venerable Ananda who was taught by the Buddha. But we know what happened during the first council. During the first council, when the suttas were collected, compiled under the Nikayas, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta got the Samyutta Nikaya, got into the Samyutta Nikaya. So Samyutta Nikaya was managed and then maintained by, taken care by Arhan Mahakashyapa and his followers. So definitely, this is under their category. But we roughly say every sutta was, because why do we say that Bhante Ananda knew all the suttas? Because when he was appointed as the chief minister in monk, he asked the Buddha a couple of things. And one of the things was, wherever the Buddha goes and come back, he is supposed to teach him all the suttas. This is the proof that we have that he must have been given this sutta. But now, during the Sanghayana, we know that Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta was shifted onto given to the Samyutta Nikaya. So definitely, we have two aspects. So we could take the second aspect because Arhan Mahakashyapa and his followers, disciples, were the group who were supposed to take care of this. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. All right, any other questions? Can Bhante give a background of the 5 ascetics? What are their meditation experience done? Well, of course, these 5 ascetics have been practicing self-modification. That means Attakilamattana Yoga. It's a wrong sila. Although they might, we don't see that many information about Panchavagya Bhikkhu, about their samadhi actually. What we only know is that they are extreme sila practice. They did not eat for many years, and they did not, they gave lots of pain to the body. This is what we know. I think they must have not come to a samadhi, because when you give pain to body, samadhi will go away. Because you cannot concentrate. When you're giving lots of pain to the body, the calmness will be most likely gone away. In order for you to, let's say they must have come to a jhana. If they had come to a jhana, they must have kept it by balancing it out. But their main focus was to give lots of pain to the body. So they can't come to a certain point of upekha, which we understand the jhanas. So definitely, they are more onto the self-modification, Attakilamattana.
So Bhante, my question is whether one significance of the sutta, can we understand it? Is it accurate to understand it as the marker, the turning point, that where the historical Buddha can be viewed as a Sammasambuddha? Because the content for both types of Buddhas are the same, they're both self-awakened. But in this case, the action of teaching and with Kondana understanding is the subsequent establishment of the Sangha, that is the start, the turning point of our historical Buddha being a Sammasambuddha. Is it correct to understand it that way as well?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. You are right.
So Bhante, is it for every Sammasambuddha, do we have it's like a general template or a general outline of such an event? Maybe in a different time, it might not be a wheel, it might be something else, but it's an event that turns, that marks the turning point.
Normally, all the Sammasambuddhas have a certain blueprint actually. The blueprint is a chakra. Just as you understand that Sammasambuddhas, all Sammasambuddhas are born in India in the same way. So this is what we understand, that they have this framework of a wheel. So it is clear that they all have this understanding as a framework of a wheel.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yes. On the other hand, I wanted to say something else also here. It is the difference between a Pacceka Buddha and a Sammasambuddha also, because Samma Sambuddha is someone who can, what you call, deliver the message of what he self-enlightened. Pacceka Buddha also self-enlightened. The difference between these two is that only Samma Sambuddha can bring his self-awakening, Samma Sambuddhahood, onto the concepts, Panyati. Because that is the delivery. Now, say for instance, when the Buddha is teaching us the Four Noble Truths, that means he has exported his Samma Sambodhi into concept, words. But Pacceka Buddhas cannot bring their Sambodhi into concepts, Panyanti. So this is a very big issue, very big difference. This is why we understand that Samma Sambuddha here, Gautama Shakyamuni Buddha, is trying to deliver this his Samma Sambodhihood in concepts. Like he had to follow the framework of a chakra, Dhammacakkappavattana, and he had to follow the existing ways of presenting. As I said, at that time of India, they had this formula: sickness, cause of the sickness, what you call recovery from the sickness, and the treatment plans. So he had to incorporate what he found out into this formula, which the Pacceka Buddhas cannot. So I think this is a perfect example of one Samma Sambuddha's delivery of his Samma Sambuddhahood, which the Pacceka Buddhas cannot. So this sutta, the introduction of this sutta, is what we understand. I think more information can be understood when we study more the future lessons.